Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and Pinocchio. This is not the first time I've touched on this subject, and the reason why I'm touching on it again is I'm currently watching Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which I highly recommend. It is a beautifully crafted film. I'm really enjoying it. And just so you're aware, like 2022 had two major releases of Pinocchio, new creators' visions of Pinocchio. What I want to talk about today is why Pinocchio is important in your Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So one of the things we want to realize is we drop into a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, like we bring it as a dungeon master, right, to our players. And if you're here, right, then you're not worrying about having fun or cutting goblins in half, right? You're looking to use Dungeons and Dragons as a transformational tool to improve yourself individually, to improve your players, and by extension to improve society. So on this channel, in my humble opinion, Dungeons and Dragons is a transformational tool. It's a human improvement engine designed secretly by Gary Gygax. I think I'm the only person in the world who believes this. But I think that the evidence is mounting, and I am seeing others coming in saying, "Oh yeah, D&D is like right now." There's a guy creating a game called Keys of Chimoria, which literally introduces therapeutic dungeon masters. Or he might be using the term, and it is for 5th edition Perkinian Dungeons and Dragons. So it's really fascinating. So one of the things you want to recognize is like you have a limited number of you have a limited number of campaigns and sessions you're going to run. You need to squeeze the most juice out of every campaign, out of every session, right? There's no time to waste. There are goals to accomplish with Dungeons and Dragons, right? So one of the things you're going to do is you're going to hierarchy your players, right? And the reality is you're going to have players who are there to hear the narrative, right, and maybe to add to the narrative. There are players who are there simply to spend time with other people at your table. This is not a small thing. Dungeons and Dragons attracts the most charismatic, confident, intelligent people in the world to it. That's just I think it's a fact if you just look at it, right? It's almost all knowledge workers. It's almost people, you usually stack up their degrees like pancakes. So it's just the way it is. It's the shape of the world, okay? So you have all this going on, and one of the things you want to look for that player who's going to do exactly what we're looking to do, to really leverage Dungeons and Dragons and do more with it, and tell stories that are going to be remembered at the table, told again by other players, and are going to teach lessons, right, to you, to the other players, and to society as an extension. And you know where you're going to find those people? People playing Warforged. Warforged is the cutting edge. It is the highest valued species in Dungeons and Dragons right now. And the reason why is the society, we are moving into a point where we're looking at, okay, robots. Are they going to drive cars? Are they going to kill people for us? Are they going to carry boxes? Are they going to do all of the things I just talked about? Right? Also, how are we going to code them? Do we need a cleric? Do we need a philosopher? Do we need, an ethicist? Do we need a judge? Right? Like, you can't leave ethics up to a developer, right? You can't do that, right? Like, so like, that you need some grounding in it, right? Like you don't go to a philosopher to write code, and you don't go to a coder to write ethics, right? Like, yeah. So for our society, the stories that matter most right now is how we interact with robots, right? And Warforged is right on that Pinocchio edge, right? So as you're like pancake stacking your players, to like, this person's at my table, they're the attending player, this is my anchor player, this is where all the energy is going to come, this is where we're going to move things forward with this player, right? Now you treat them all equally, you treat them all with respect. You don't treat them equally, right? One of them's going to get a little more time, a little more attention. They're going to be the highlight of the story, right? And so one indicator now is anybody you got at the table playing a Warforged, that's probably closer to your anchor player rather than your attending player. So you got your anchor player, right? And they're gonna like make a rock solid foundation for everything you're doing and everything the other players are doing, right? And you got your attending player, right? And they're just a brick that's gonna go on top of the foundation, right? So as you stack those players and you hierarchy them, and you're realizing who your anchor player is, as opposed to who your attending player is, an indicator is Warforged, the smartest, I think so. We already are attracting intelligent, confident, charismatic people, right? But you're still going to have top and bottom, right? So your top tier players and indicators if they're playing Warforged because they get that's the most relevant thing right now. That's my humble opinion. I'm ready to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.